The morning train rattled like it was tired of carrying other people's lives, and Daniel Carter sat by the window holding a paper bag with 2 sandwiches and a small juice box. His fingers curled tightly around it, as if letting go might cause everything else in his life to slip away too. While beside him, his 6-year-old daughter Lily swung her legs gently, humming a tune she made up herself, unaware of how closely her father watched her face, how every smile she made was both a blessing and a reminder of the woman they had lost 3 years ago, the woman whose laughter Lily barely remembered, but whose absence Daniel felt in every quiet moment, every unpaid bill. Every night he stayed awake, wondering if he was doing enough. Daniel was a single father, not by choice, but by fate, working 2 jobs, driving deliveries by day and cleaning offices at night. His world narrowed to survival, and one promise he had made at a hospital bedside, that Lily would always be safe, always be loved, no matter how hard life became. The train slowed near an old market street, and through the smudged glass Lily's eyes wandered, curious and observant in the way only children can be, until they landed on a little girl standing near a trash bin on the platform. Her clothes too thin for the cold, her hair tangled, her small hands clutching a cracked plastic cup, and Lily's humming stopped abruptly as she leaned closer to the window, her face pressing against it, something heavy settling in her chest that she didn't yet have words for. Daniel followed her gaze and felt that familiar tightening in his throat, the one he felt whenever he saw children who reminded him how close he himself lived to the edge, how one missed paycheck could change everything. And he looked away instinctively, not out of cruelty but out of fear, because noticing hurt, because caring felt dangerous when he barely had enough for his own child. The train doors opened, people rushed in and out, and Lily tugged gently at Daniel's sleeve, her voice soft but serious as she said, "Daddy, she looks hungry," and Daniel froze, pretending not to hear at first, staring straight ahead as if silence could protect him from the question he knew was coming. But Lily didn't stop, her small hand slipping into his, warm and trusting. "Daddy, can I share my food with her?" The words hit him harder than any overdue notice ever had, because they came from a place so pure it exposed every excuse he had built to survive. And he looked down at Lily, at the juice box with a cartoon straw she loved, at the sandwich she had asked for specifically because it was cut into triangles, and for a moment he saw the world through her eyes, not as a place of scarcity and fear, but as a place where kindness was still possible. "Sweetheart," he began, his voice tight, "we need this food for later," and Lily nodded slowly. But her eyes didn't leave the little girl on the platform, who now sat on the cold ground, watching people pass like ghosts who couldn't see her. And Lily whispered, "I can eat less, Daddy. I won't be hungry," and something in Daniel broke open quietly, a crack in the armor he had spent years building. Because he remembered a night long ago when Lily's mother had given her own dinner to a stranger and smiled like it was nothing, saying the world only changed when someone decided to care first. The train whistle sounded, warning of departure, and Daniel knew this was the moment that would pass forever if he didn't act. The moment Lily would remember, not because of what they did, but because of what they didn't. And before fear could argue again, he stood up, heart pounding, grabbed the paper bag, and stepped off the train with Lily clinging to his coat. The cold air hit them, sharp and unforgiving, and the little girl on the ground looked up in alarm as they approached, ready to run, used to being chased away. But Lily smiled at her with a gentleness that disarmed even fear, holding out the sandwich with both hands like an offering. "Hi," Lily said, "you can have this. It's good." And the other child stared in disbelief, her eyes wide, darting to Daniel as if waiting for the punishment that usually followed. Kindness she didn't trust. But Daniel knelt down, meeting her gaze, seeing dirt on her cheeks, seeing a child who should have been in school, not surviving on leftovers. And he said quietly, "It's okay. My daughter wanted to share." And the girl's hands shook as she took the sandwich, biting into it as if it might disappear, tears slipping down her face as hunger met relief. Lily beamed, sitting beside her on the cold ground without hesitation, sharing the juice box, chatting about school and colors and silly things. While Daniel watched, his chest aching with a mix of pride and guilt, realizing that in trying so hard to protect Lily from the harshness of the world, he might have almost taught her to look away from it instead of changing it. People passed by, some slowing, some staring, most ignoring, but for Daniel time seemed to stop, because he understood now that this small moment mattered, more than any extra shift he could work, more than any plan he had made out of fear. And when the train finally pulled away without them, he didn't feel panic, only a strange calm, as if for the first time in years he was exactly where he needed to be. The hungry little girl finished, eating, and whispered a thank you so quiet it nearly broke him. And when she asked, "Do you have to go?" Lily squeezed her hand and said, "We can sit a little," and Daniel nodded, sitting down too, not knowing yet that this single act of sharing would pull them into a story far bigger than a missed train, a story of choices, sacrifice, and unexpected family. And as the chapter of their lives quietly turned on that cold platform, if you're listening to this story and your heart feels heavy or hopeful, at the same time, remember this moment, because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness carry
the greatest power. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, stories that remind us of compassion, love, and humanity, then stay with us, support the journey, and subscribe to the channel. Because the next chapter will show how one child's simple words can change lives forever. The cold platform that had felt temporary slowly became a place of decision. And as Daniel sat there beside Lily and the hungry little girl whose name they soon learned was Maya, he realized that life had a strange way of stopping you exactly where you needed to be, because minutes turned into an hour and the rush of people thinned. Yet something inside him refused to hurry anymore, as if the world itself had pressed pause to see what kind of man he truly was. Maya ate slowly now, no longer devouring the food in panic, her shoulders relaxing for the first time, and Lily talked endlessly, telling her about her favorite storybooks, about how her mommy was an angel in the sky, about how her daddy made the best scrambled eggs even when they couldn't afford much else. And Daniel listened, stunned by how easily children shared truths adults buried under pride and fear. When Maya finally spoke more than a whisper, she said she slept near the market with her grandmother who had been sick for weeks, that some days they ate and some days they didn't, and Daniel felt a sharp, helpless anger rise in his chest, not at the world in general, but at how easily people learned to walk past suffering once they convinced themselves it wasn't their responsibility. Lily looked up at him with serious eyes and asked the question he knew was coming, the one no parent can prepare for. "Daddy, where will she go now?" And Daniel opened his mouth to give a careful, responsible answer, something about shelters or social workers or how they couldn't fix everything. But the words felt hollow before they even left him, because Lily wasn't asking for policy or logic. She was asking for compassion. And in that moment, he understood something profound.